Food for me is joy, and cooking for me is a meditative and joyful process. I'm pretty much always in the kitchen. When I'm not, I'm outside, but I'm pretty much in the kitchen all the time. And that's the time I'm not thinking. It's just me and the ingredients, and that's it. And it's just so peaceful and such an enjoying, just so much joy is there. I can't think of any other word besides joy and pleasure when I think about food. Besides the fact that it tastes good, just the whole process is orgasmic. It really is. It's orgasmic. It's just fun for me to create things for family, for friends, for myself. How can I harness all that energy and then make the rest of my life this way? And you can start there, which is pretty rad. I dig it. If I don't cook, I don't feel complete. And I feel like my most self when I am in my kitchen. I feel like I am serving my highest purpose when I am in the kitchen. Whether it's cooking for me, whether it's making tea, whether just being in that space, I feel like I entered into a temple. My kitchen is my office, my sacred space, it's my time. And I make that time. I'm very intentional about that time. So it's very rare you'll catch me ordering out or going out to eat, because this is for me. I do this for me. How some people take walks and go and be in nature, which of course I do that for me as well, but being in my kitchen is my time. And I feel so good, because when I'm not in there, I'm like, all right, what do I gotta do next? What's happening? And like, I'm present, but I'm also thinking. When I'm in there, everything just stops, just pauses. We're the most connected to our divine source when we are consuming foods in a nice and when you're making that intention to consume very specific foods. Even if it's not something necessarily crunchy granola or super greens or anything like that, whatever you are making the intention to put in your body is a connection to the divine source. Eating is a sacred practice, and when you consume mindfully and intuitively, you're feeding it on like a cellular level in your cells. Your relationship with your food and your body can be a spiritual practice. And for me, it's spiritual in that I am completely present and aware of what I'm doing in that moment, and there's nothing else but this. And then I feel bliss, pleasure, joy. So for me, that's a spiritual practice, whether it's breathing, whether it's cooking, but cooking and eating can be that for you if you give yourself the space to just be present. Being present really makes a huge difference, but it's so easy to get lost. But even if you pick one thing, and for me that one thing is food, which is such a unifier and it connects us all, then we can let that trickle to everything else. So my cookbook is named Yogi Eats, a delicious journey to nourishing your soul. And I grew up in a yogic household. My mom is this peaceful, loving, wild spirit who just practiced Kundalini yoga, and I was born into that. I developed this yogic understanding from childhood. I decided that it was so important for me to figure out what worked for my body. And me practicing yoga felt like the most authentic form of movement and just spiritual practice for me. And even just sitting still. And once I started to actually feel my body on like each level, like when you're doing mudras, when you're touching, when you're just moving and you're just feeling the movement and the wave of the movement, I started to notice more things about my eating habits and what I was putting inside of my body. So in adding those practices to what I was doing in terms of cooking and in terms of eating, I slowed down. I'm like, I think this is a pretty cool idea to infuse yogic practice to cooking and to nourishing the body. So what I did with the book is I divided it into 4 chapters, and those 4 main chapters are the 4 things that I feel are essential that we need every day. We need energy. We need to feel sexy, feel pleasure, feel excited in that sense. Because, I mean, why not? And feel relaxed and feel grounded. And so what my cookbook does is it takes different foods and how those foods can infuse into your life and give you a little of those extra feelings, and added in some yoga sequences and breath work as a whole practice, because it makes a huge difference when you incorporate together and you allow yourself to really absorb all of the things you just put in your body. Whether it's doing a juicy hip opener practice after eating some sexy chocolate bark, and maybe you embark on a different journey, like you have a jade egg practice, or whatever it is you enjoy, you allow space for that to happen because you set that intention. And all of my recipes are things that I actually eat. I want everyone who tastes anything that I make to feel like I'm there with them, guiding them, that they know that I'm actually eating this, that I have my vibrancy and my energy, and my husband has his vibrancy and energy because of the food that I put there. I want people to feel deliciously juicy when they eat, deliciously juicy, and feel pleasure when they're cooking and eating. And I just, that's what I want. I want for people to feel, when I wrote my book, I wanted people to hear me talking to them when I'm coaching them through the cooking process. So you're gonna stir this, and then you're gonna shake your booty a little bit, or you're gonna just like do a little dance, put some music on, and then just feel so sexy when you're eating, or just like make slurping noises and make sounds, and just do something that just doesn't make it feel stale. Yeah. It doesn't have to be boring. Oh yeah, this is good. And I want to feel like that all the time. And how can I help people discover that for themselves? I actually ended up working at the farmer's market after doing a cooking demo to promote my cookbook. And now I've managed a handful of markets, and I love my farmers. They're just such humble and wonderful people, and they have all this power. You know, they grow the food and they pull the food, and the fact that I get to have that relationship and then I get to bring that into my home, and I know that they already instilled that with good energy, and it was just picked no more than 2 days ago, and it wasn't sitting at a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's for like a week or 2 weeks, and we don't know. And I know that I'm supporting someone else as they support me, and they nourish me. And it feels like an awesome energetic exchange, knowing that I made this decision to support local and to eat fresh, seasonal foods, which is in alignment with Mother Nature. And then I feel more nourished knowing that I did that for myself. I find this awesome connection when I get to actually be closest to the source, that it was just picked a couple days ago. And there's nothing like fresh peaches in the summer, or fresh tomatoes, or even fresh basil, or whatever it is. And it teaches people that you don't have, it's not an impossible thing or a luxury to eat well and support local food and eat closest to the source. It's a possibility. You can come here and feel good at the choices that you've made. Yeah. I'm actually a metaphysical practitioner. Everything from chakra readings to lunar energy, tarot, and stone medicine is up my alley, and everything comes back to food for me. Food is beyond fuel. It has these medicinal qualities to it. when you're eating things like, right now my thing is like black cohosh and managing your menstrual cycle. When I take certain herbal tinctures, or if I mindfully choose certain teas, or if I mindfully choose pairing of certain foods, it has that medicinal quality without actually using modern medicine. You can use the plants, you can use all of these things that were here before we were. And your body knows what to do. It has that intelligence, it has that wisdom. We need to give it room to feel it and feel the effects that it has. And there are different foods that you can tap into those medicinal qualities and allow that to facilitate those things. And I know my purpose is to help people heal themselves through their relationship with food and help them rediscover that for themselves. So if I can do that for me, which I have done and I continue to do as I experiment, because I'm always learning, how can I do that for others?